Hello everyone. Well, my recent video about the ABC and its program Planet America appears to have brought some more TDS sufferers out into the sunlight. At the outset, it's probably not a bad idea to point out the appropriate differentiation between a person who is of an opposing political opinion and a TDS sufferer. Someone with an opposing political view may attempt to make a particular point about Trump, but if that view is countered with either a solid argument or even a credible documented source, they are able to concede, or at very least, agree to disagree. They may then resort to whataboutism to further the argument, but I'd argue that both sides are equally as capable on that score. What defines them as TDS sufferers is when they clasp at anything, espousing as gospel even the most pathetic accusation. Their hatred of Donald Trump overrides their ability to recognise truth and reality, no matter how hard it's staring them in the face. So I'm going to read some of the comments posted on that video and make some observations regarding those. Let's start with the really piss-weak ones first. Imagine being such a malformed homunculus that you think saying someone has TDS is saying anything at all. This loser doesn't just eat lead paint, he put it in water and waited for the good bits to sink to the bottom. Dude, if there was ever an example of someone using words to not say anything at all, you just provided it. Let's begin with the insult part. Malformed homunculus. Okay, sure, I could refer to you in turn as a pusillanimous, recalcitrant, miscreant fucktard, and you'd only have to Google the first 3 words to discover the meaning. So I fail to see how you've impressed anyone with the oblique words tactic. I'm not even sure you understand what you're saying yourself. Given that malformed is synonymous with deformed, I suspect you may have meant to say misinformed, as that's the only word that would make sense within the context of the point that you're failing miserably at trying to make. At almost 6 foot tall and with no deformed body parts other than an enlarged penis, of course, I'm actually not in reality what you claim me to be. Ironically, denial of reality is what I just defined as one of the obvious characteristics of TDS. I drink lead paint, another powerful argument from you grounded in evidence-based reality. Yeah, you really sorted me out, didn't you? Here's a good one. The requirement for equal time only applies to domestic political reporting. You stated that it wasn't following its charter with the Planet America program. It is a pity that you don't know what you are talking about and what the charter requires. Multiply that by 10 for someone making a video on the subject. Okay, well, let's start with the requirement for equal time only applies to domestic political reporting. Please find a document that says that. And please point out where I say anything about politicians of opposing positions being given equal airtime. What I was talking about was how every word is scripted to be derogatory to Trump. My claim was that that comes from the production team and presenters, and nothing about political opponents being given equal airtime. Mate, you're not even on topic with that one. Then you go on with, you stated that it wasn't following its charter with the Planet America program. No, I never stated that. In fact, I never made any reference to the ABC charter whatsoever. What I said was, because it's publicly funded, legislatively, it's legally required to be politically impartial. You seem to not even know what the ABC Charter is. What you're attempting to argue has nothing to do with the Charter, which is contained within Section 6 of the ABC Act, and nothing to do with the Act either. The ABC Charter as defined in the ABC Act is a whopping 4 paragraphs and has nothing to do with the subject at hand. Just before I get into where your argument is supposed to come from, even a simple Google search on the question, is the ABC legally required to be impartial, returns the answer, the ABC has a statutory duty. Okay, I didn't use the word statutory, I used the word legislatively. Oh my God, therefore I must be so wrong, yeah? To ensure that the gathering and presentation of news and information is impartial according to the recognised standards of objective journalism. That's where your argument is supposed to come from, numbnut. Anyway, I think we've established who doesn't know what they're talking about, who doesn't know what the ABC Charter is, and who can't even accurately understand and recount what they heard Gary say in plain English. Now multiply that by 10 for someone leaving a comment on the subject. Then we have this guy with Justin Trudeau logic. TDS, Laughing my arse off, are we in 2016?
Have a cabinet that was gender balanced. Why was that so important to you?
Because it's 2015.
Yes, the year it is or the year it was really validates or invalidates things, doesn't it? We have the receipts now. Trump is a deranged narcissist whose only competence is serial lying. MAGA was a sham, Trump is over, and thank God for that. It's funny, MAGA wasn't a sham, that's a lie. Trump is over, that's also a lie because he's got over 2.5 years of his presidency to go, so obviously Trump isn't over. So again, I think we've found who the serial liar is. And look, I know this is spelling Nazi, but I just can't help notice these people that can't write in English above primary school level. Trump is a deranged narcissist whose, so that's who's a contraction of who is, not W-H-O-S-E, whose. So what you've written is Trump is a deranged narcissist who his only competence is serial lying. Yeah, fucking genius. What a grasp of English. Here's another mong fixated on time differences. You must think it's still 2020. You are carrying water for a pedophile who was best friends with Epstein, lied about it, and is now bombing and attacking Iran at the behest of Israel. You are washed, boomer. Okay, well, there's some truth to what he's saying there. Unlike lefties, yes, I do wash, so that part is true. The part about at the behest of Israel is half true as well. But Dick Brain, commenter here, must have missed the part where I said I disagree with Trump getting America involved in what I described as Israel's geographical war. You are carrying water for a pedophile who was best friends with Epstein. No, you're carrying water for people who take second, third and fourth-hand email mentions from 2025 and try to make out that that's evidence. Best friends with Epstein? Total fabrication, of course, but that's what these pathological liars do. But about Trump being a pedophile, if second, third and fourth-hand emails are the evidential standard, yeah, mate, I've got an email too that talks about you having non-consensual sex with sheep. It's from Gary Orsum to Gary Orsum, but according to you, if someone alleged it in an email at some stage, it must be true. Now we have this poor wayward soul, who at the end of this comment is going to pretend to be on our side, when he obviously isn't. Trump is a disgraceful traitor. He's a traitor, is he? Perhaps you could elaborate on how he's a traitor to America. I'd love to hear it. But let's have a look at some of these points you've made and see if any of them fall into the category of traitor to America. Doge, not happening. Well, legally, Musk was only permitted to act in an advisory capacity for a limited time. Doge was always a temporary agency, so yeah, it's not happening anymore. And how does the law constraining Trump's 12th executive order to temporary status make Trump a traitor again? Is it the fact that the left's response to Doge was to vandalise and set fire to people's Teslas? Is that what makes Trump a traitor? Government spending has increased. What are you saying, that Trump is the only president under whom government spending increased? Yeah, if that's the hallmark of a traitor, then possibly every US president that's ever been has been a traitor, I would posit. Mass deportations not happening. ICE was token theatre and they gave up at the first sign of trouble. Wow, you don't know anything about what's been going on in America, do you? Order after order after order after order by federal and sometimes even district court judges issuing temporary restraining orders, ordering the White House to halt ICE operations, resulting in weeks-long delays while these orders make their way through the appellate courts and up to the Supreme Court, where they ultimately get crushed because the original court didn't even have the jurisdiction, or the parties propped up by leftist law firms to be litigants don't even have the standing. So yeah, I can see how you think the left trying to block every move he makes is him being a traitor. Next you go on to say, Ukraine was still being funded. Yeah, but not for free like it was under Biden. Trump made Zelensky sign off on a minerals deal that would pay America back for ongoing military aid. Again, America getting paid for military aid rather than just giving it away makes him a traitor, does it? Where were you when that was happening? Out the back in the tool shed with your uncle? Because you sure as hell weren't paying attention to what was going on at that time. He attacked Iran, for fuck's sake. I'll come back to that one. 0 deep state arrests, including covering up for Jeffrey Epstein. Oh, so you acknowledge the existence of a deep state. But I thought a big part of exposing the existence of a deep state was seeing the efforts made to bring down both Trump presidencies, and the uncovering of deep state operations like Arctic Frost and the Russia collusion hoax. And again, I find it bizarre that someone who professes to hate the left would conclude that Trump's failure to walk into Adam Schiff's house and arrest him, and imagine the exploding uteri amongst the left media and Democrats if that actually happened, somehow makes him a traitor to America. We actually have to face the very clear reality. Yeah, mate, coming from you, reality doesn't sound like it's actually a thing. The left were correct about Trump being an abysmal person. I love this bit. For fuck's sake, man, he is a foul-mouthed, shameless liar. You have to love the profound lack of self-awareness there, don't you? Denigrating someone as being foul-mouthed immediately after saying, for fuck's sake. Moving forward, who changes his story constantly? You see, I would argue, who's willing to change his story? Unlike the endless parade of pollies who keep up failing policies just to save face. He has betrayed and destroyed MAGA. I'd argue that that's half true. He hasn't destroyed MAGA, but I would agree he has betrayed MAGA. True MAGAs are America first, and helping Netanyahu avenge his brother's death at the cost of thousands of lives is something I'd argue that Netanyahu can go and do by him fucking self. Assisting that cunt is a betrayal of MAGA. He is a war criminal. Yeah, and you're a pig fucker. So, see how that one works? Finally, he says, I hate the left as much as anyone. Do you? Because you strike me as being on side with just about every leftist anti-Trump talking point there is. Anyway, finally we have what I'm going to call the winner. There is a prize for winning. You've won the opportunity to throw $20 into my PayPal account because I could really do with a little help at the moment. Pretty cool prize, eh? Gary, who do you think cops it in wars? The leaders or the common people? Answers on a postcard. So I don't know what rock you were under recently, but last time I checked, it was the Supreme Leader and his closest senior officials who got obliterated into the waiting arms of Allah. You go on to say, your blind support tells me you are clueless. Okay, given my very clearly stated position of being opposed to Trump assisting Israel in this conflict, which would indicate to anyone with more than 2 brain cells that I don't just follow blindly, I'd have to take the position that your deafness tells me that you are clueless. Then you go on to say, and no, women cannot drive out of conflict areas. What the fuck? Tell me, is that something you do on a regular basis? Refute things that were never said? I mean, that's real mental disorder shit right there. My point being, it's all a power grab by leaders, and civilian casualties of war are just collateral damage. We don't matter, and your support of that means you think you have common ground with leaders. Go see a psychiatrist, man. You fucking screw loose, hey? I suppose I get what he's saying about civilians being the innocent victims of wars that the shielded upper classes instigate, but in this instance, Trump initially did the complete opposite. His first strike this time around was to kill the leader. Anyway, guys, that was fun. And I'll see you all, or you'll see me rather, in the next video. Thanks for watching, everyone.